Welcome to DS Trucks. In today's video, I want to talk about the high output 6.7 Power Stroke. Is it worth it? Is this upgrade worth the extra money? At the time when I did it, it was around $2,000 more for this option compared to the standard output. Kind of interesting. We're going to discuss that today. So basically, you're getting another 150 foot-pounds of torque, some more horsepower, but a lot of people will say, hey man, that's just bragging rights, because at the end of the day, do you really even notice a difference? But what else do you get? You get the water-cooled turbo, you get a better exhaust manifold underneath the hood. I believe it's a stainless steel exhaust manifold, so that can go either way if you're thinking about, is it worth it? Because at the end of the day, that new exhaust manifold, being stainless steel or whatever's going on with that, is not something that is as tested as the old cast iron exhaust manifold that's underneath the hood of the standard output. That one has been out for a number of years. They do have some failures in the high mileage 6.7 Power Strokes, but they're not a big item of worry. Will this different exhaust manifold that you get with the high output, the stainless steel, will that be more robust, or would it be more of an issue? So you get the better exhaust manifold. So it could go either way. I mean, they're probably better. I mean, they are a better material, I guess. But I mean, only time will tell. And what all does that do for you as the end owner of the vehicle? I don't know. But you also now get the water-cooled turbo. So with the water-cooled turbo, the standard output also has a water-cooled turbo, but they don't cool both sides of the turbo. They only cool the exhaust side with coolant. With the high output, now they're cooling both housings, and at the end of the day, that alone does not produce more power, but it takes the tuning to produce the more power. So in theory, you could actually just tune a standard output to produce the power of the high output, but for whatever reason, the factory doesn't do that. Although people do that, aftermarket, and they've been doing it for years, tuning 6.7 Power Strokes for more power. I don't know, why the factory has to do so much as far as these hard parts, as far as the water-cooled turbo. It's kind of an interesting thing to do, but at least at the end of the day, you can say that you do get hard parts under the hood, the water-cooled housing on the intake side, and the better exhaust manifolds. I do believe it's a different transmission, different part number at least, to handle the more power that you get from the high output. So presumably a better transmission. I know in my case with my truck, this 23 450, I've had no transmission issues, no weird shifts, nothing. And that's saying a lot for the 10 speeds, because over the years, I've had some issues with 10 speeds. This high output though is the best 10 speed that I've had. It's never done a single weird thing ever, like nothing. So maybe there's something there with the transmission, but at the end of the day, with the high output Power Stroke, can you tell a difference? And from every publication that I've seen online, I've been watching that guy Ben Hardy, who tests a lot of these trucks. He's saying he can't tell the difference. Me going from a standard output 450 from a 2020 model to this 23 high output, I really can't tell the difference. And that's not even coming from a 23. That's coming from a 2020 model now to a 23. I really cannot tell the difference. I just cannot tell. It just seems like the same thing. So I don't think there's nobody near me. Let's step on it. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy, because that was just a quick pull and getting off of it real fast. But I can tell you that it's good. I mean, if it's better than the 20, it's so minor. It's such a minor. I know when I had the 20, sometimes on some days it just didn't feel like it was pulling hard, just based on like maybe the air, whatever's going on with the heat. I don't know. It just seems like maybe it could use a little more power. But maybe this one, I mean, it's so minor that maybe this truck has a little bit more consistent torque in all conditions. But honestly, I can feel more of a difference from going different oil, like an oil change to 10W30 from 5W40, and then going to the Hot Shot Secrets, which is like a real high-end oil. It's supposed to have all this lubricity and all that. That first oil change, going to that after the 540 Motorcraft, the truck felt a little peppier after that. I can feel that more than I can feel. Then again, I'm not jumping from truck to truck. I'm not testing them back to back. That truck's been sold for 6-7 months, and then I got this one. So in order to really know, I'd have to drive them back to back. So as far as maybe towing is better, I've done a lot more heavy towing with this than I ever did with my other one. And from the gas engine, you can tell, but with this truck, the towing, it's hard to say because I didn't tow as heavy as I did with my 20 that I did with this truck. This truck I've towed 30,000, a little bit overloaded with concrete, but 30,000. I've towed 15,000 pounds, 16,000 pounds skid steer, truck, trailer, and machine with another 1,000-pound plow on it, with another 5,000 in the bed. This truck does really well with that. But the main thing I noticed when I was towing those weights is it was freaking cold. Like, it was 0 Fahrenheit, and I could feel like a real degradation in power because I didn't have anything in the fuel, any additive. Now, I remembered I had some of this Winter Defense EDT at home, and okay. So I can tell like when I'm accelerating, it's a lot of traction control and stuff. So I can show you guys something real cool with this truck that it does. Now this is cool. So if I turn this knob down here all the way to the one way there, it puts it in this mode. It engages 4-wheel drive, shift in progress, and it turns on the front camera. How cool is that? And now, I mean, look, now my whole screen's different, and now you can freaking feel the power, because without that being on, you really, I don't know, without this being on, it's just not enough traction to feel the power. But we're in 4 wheels, so the one thing I don't want to do is scrub out a sharp turn with this mode on. Now, if I try to put it in 2-wheel drive in this mode, it's going to tell me you can't do that because you're in this off-roading mode. But it rips in this mode. It does rip in this mode compared to the other mode, and it kind of changes. I'm sure I can configure the screen somehow, but it moves some stuff around. I probably want to. So these things, they move with the steering wheel, although I can't turn the steering wheel because I'm traveling too fast, but they'll turn with the steering wheel. So this is like an off-road mode, but really it's like freaking sport mode. But what I was saying is, I could really see a degradation of the power when it got real cold, because it was so cold. Like, the fuel was just maybe gelling up on me a little. So I put that stuff in there, and I felt the power return. That Hot Shot Secrets Winter, I felt the power return. So I feel, changes in the power and stuff like that based on conditions, but I really can't tell that big a difference going to the high output. But I will say, though, it does seem to be a little more consistent with the power, maybe. And I think just at the end of the day, the standard output from 2020 had 1,050 foot-pounds of torque. I believe that's what it has now for the standard output, 1,050 foot-pounds of torque, 440 horsepower maybe. Now we're talking 500 foot-pounds of torque and 500 horsepower and 1,200 foot-pounds of torque. The real issue is you can't put the power down in two-wheel drive. You're not going anywhere anyway. So I know for a fact with 20, I just at 1,050 foot-pounds of torque, it couldn't accelerate. Now, maybe you get it with the towing or anything, some of those aspects. Honestly, for towing, you need the power, but you don't. Like, you kind of gotta move safely. So for all intents and purposes, I've not noticed the real benefit with the power from towing. I think I'd have to get into those heavy duty maximum weights. And that's where they say it really does shine, because the water-cooled turbo can handle so much more. Oh, dang. Now that you can feel that, no, for real. Like, that's probably the way to feel the difference on a HO is to freaking put it in this mode. I need another F450, but a standard output. And then we both put them in these modes and we see what like the difference really is. That's the only way. And I think maybe in that case you can see the difference, because now the front axle's pulling as well as the rear, and you're not like, there's no weight over the back, so you got traction all around. This thing pulls like a freaking Hellcat, like a Hellcat truck or something. But anyway, I put that winter defense in, it restored the power. So if you are looking for a good fuel additive, check out Hot Shot Secrets and use discount code DS-Trucks, all capitals, and it'll save you some money. I think maybe 10% or something. But the cool thing about Hot Shot Secrets is you can use two codes at once. You can put DS-Trucks in there, and you can put PTT in there, which is my buddy Power Stroke Tech Talk. His discount code on there is PTT, and you'll save even more. It'll combine the two savings. So it helps me out a little bit. Nothing like I get paid or nothing, but I do get like a discount on my oil, and I use the oil. I believe in the oil. People are asking all the time, are you still running the Hot Shots? It's my go-to right now. It's the Hot Shots. The AMSOIL is real close, but I think I'm Hot Shots right now. This thing freaking pulls so hard. But then I can't turn. I don't want to be scrubbing out the front end and stressing components and stuff. But yeah, so the consensus is no, it's not gonna make or break the truck, the high output. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, it's cool and all, and it's good and it's fun, and if you want to get it and you can afford it, get it. But if you're conscious about spending, then don't get the high output, because it's just more spending at the end of the day. Like, it really is. Like, you could probably buy a cheaper truck, like an older truck, and if this is not like the most savvy spending or the most like savvy purchase ever. Let me take off this. I had to put that on pause and turn off this sport mode. But yeah, it's not like the high output's the most savvy purchase you can buy. It's not physically doing really much of anything for the vehicle, aside from more power and just to have the best one. Like, if you're one of those guys that's like, okay, give me the best one, then you want the high output. But if you're one of those guys that's like, give me the best deal, the high output might not be the best deal, because now you've got this water-cooled turbo, you've got more lines under the hood, they're new, we don't know if they're gonna hold, the fluid. You wouldn't be surprised, like, these lines can just leak. It happens all the time. Now you got more leak points, you got more cost in service if you have to pull the intake. Now you got more coolant lines running around, and it's more involved, there's more going on, and it's not a necessity. So that's where I'm at with that. It's it's a cool add-on. We would have liked to see something that you can feel more, like we talking about tuning. Maybe the tuning can go further. Maybe there's some things that can be done to really take it to the next level. Who knows, But As it sits now, no, it doesn't. Like, it's not going to change your life. It's not going to be like, oh, I drove a standard output, then I drove a high output. Wow. No, I don't think so. But comment below and let me know your thoughts. Do you have the high output? Do you think it's worth it? But I got to go. I got a call here. I got to return. But anyway, my name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you in the next one. Over and out.